shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Heading out the door this morning, grab the coat. Temperatures are down near freezing, but wait until you see the high temperatures in store this week.
Thousands of job cuts at midnight. USAID workers were placed on administrative leave. The impact this will have right here in North Carolina.
3 years of war. World leaders are gathered in Ukraine this morning on the anniversary of Russia's invasion. The solidarity from North Carolinians on this solemn day. A lot to tell you about here on this Monday morning. We're glad you're with us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, as we get things started here on our Monday, a little bit of a change in our pattern certainly this week.
A big change.
Right? Isn't it great?
Happy for it.
I think I could hear that ice and snow melting over the weekend. It sounded great. Elizabeth Gardner over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We're going to have like a spring week here.
We really are. We take a look here at North Hills this morning. Skies are mostly clear, looking at 34 degrees. So it is a cold start still. So you're going to need to, head out in a jacket or a coat. With temperatures like this. But it won't stay that way all day. Right now, though, it is in the 20s in Roxborough and South Hill. We're below freezing in Rocky Mount and Goldsboro, as well as Southern Pines at 28, 34 in the Triangle, 35 in Fayetteville and in Clinton. But our hour-by-hour forecast warms up nicely. We'll see high temperatures climbing on up into the low to mid-60s for this afternoon with lots of sunshine. And we do have 70s in our forecast more than one day this week. So we'll talk about the best days to get outside coming up.
And with breaking news we're following out of Wake County. Several fire units are on this scene right now of a burning barn near Zebulon. This is a live look right now. You see the flames shooting up from that building right there, the smoke pouring out. This happened about 2 a.m. on Perry Curtis Road, and neighbors say that barn was sometimes used for car repairs. Wake County Sheriff's deputies on the scene confirm nobody was hurt in this fire.
New this morning, most USAID employees in the U.S. and around the world have been put on administrative leave. The order from the Trump administration took effect at midnight. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from NC State. And Kelsey, this affects several universities in our state.
Yes, Renee, NC State is just one of the universities that will be impacted by this. We know that thousands of people are waking up without a job to go to this morning. Check this out. This is the USAID's website. It says all direct hire personnel will be put on administrative leave with a few exceptions. USAID funds humanitarian aid around the globe. And here's how these job cuts could impact North Carolina. North Carolina organizations receive nearly $1 billion a year from USAID, according to U.S. spending. NC State received $2.2 million from the agency last fiscal year, while UNC received around $17.5 million. Now, we talked to a UNC spokesperson who says that money goes towards programs, including one that helps track the spread of tuberculosis, and the university confirmed that 9 programs have received stop work orders. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
We have more breaking news we're following right now. Crews are on the scene of a fire in Raleigh. This is happening on Schaub Drive near Western Boulevard. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us from that scene live right now. Laura, those crews have been on that scene since just after 4 a.m.
Jeff, we're looking at a very extensive fire investigation right now. Dozens of fire trucks here on the scene on Schaub Drive. You can hear behind me with RPD blocking off a majority of this section of the road. I can tell you that it's very, very hard to access where this fire is actually happening. If we can pan the camera to the tree lines here, you can see in this wooded area maybe just a glow in the distance. When we arrived, we saw flames. We saw a lot of smoke billowing in the air, and it's really loud out here. That's because we continue to hear fire trucks traveling on Western Boulevard heading this way. So right now we are working to learn more about what caused this fire. Where is this fire actually happening? Is it in a wooded area? Is it a structure that's currently under fire or being burned down right now? That's what we're working to find out in this moment. Again, dozens of fire trucks here on Schaub Drive. This is right off of Western Boulevard in Raleigh. As soon as we learn more information, we will be sure to update you. Laura Levine, WRAL News. We're live in Raleigh.
Also today, the Raleigh Police Department will introduce the final candidates for its next chief of police. An event will be held at the Fletcher Opera Theater at the Martin Marietta Center for Performing Arts. It starts at 6 p.m. They'll be interviewed by panels that include community members, law enforcement representatives, and city leaders. Police Chief Estella Patterson announced her retirement late last year. Her last day on the job is March 1st.
A person is dead after a head-on crash in Harnett County. This happened around 6:30 last night on US 421 near Sloan Road. An SUV and pickup truck collided. The person driving the pickup truck died. A family of 5 was in the SUV. At least one of the members of that family was airlifted to the hospital.
Another deadly crash in Harnett County. A child was killed in this crash around 11 yesterday morning on NC 210 South near Lillington. 4 cars were involved. 3 other people were rushed to the hospital. We don't know their conditions at this time.
Today, a woman accused of shooting and killing another woman at a Raleigh apartment complex over the weekend has her first court appearance. 31-year-old Debria Moore faces charges including first-degree murder. Officers responded to Casa de Luna Apartments on Bonneville Court around 3:30 Saturday morning. Police found 28-year-old Ashley Searles with a gunshot wound. She died at the hospital.
Your time is 4:36 here in the WRAL Live Center. Just want to show you this right now, this headline on the Associated Press. You'll see that world leaders are in Ukraine to mark the 3rd year of Russia's occupation of Ukraine after attacking that country there. Just want to go through some of the photos here so you can see there. There's Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and other world leaders that are here at these series of photos. And quite a few people obviously watching this situation very closely to see what happens next regarding the war between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine's president even saying that he was willing to step down if it meant that Ukraine could join NATO, though in terms of what that would mean next, I mean, that's a little unclear. That's what we're watching to see the next process with it, because Ukraine joining NATO would make things a little dicey in terms of what happens with that war. So we'll be watching very closely to see the next development here in the WRAL Live Center.
Last night, hundreds of people gathered in front of the North Carolina state capitol to show solidarity for Ukrainians. Tensions between Ukraine and the Trump administration escalated this week when President Trump suggested Ukraine's president was responsible for starting the war. People say messaging like that is exactly what drives them to come to events like this one.
The words that are coming out of Washington are so stressful, so hurtful. To feel like we're abandoning Ukraine, and it's quite personal. It's abandoning my family. And it just seems incredible to believe.
Republican U.S. Senator Tom Tillis has pushed back against President Trump's stance on the war. On Thursday, Tillis denounced Russian President Vladimir Putin, calling him a cancer.
More than 1 billion Catholics around the world are praying for Pope Francis amid his health issues. The Pope remains in critical condition this morning. In addition to double pneumonia and chronic bronchitis, the 88-year-old pontiff is also facing early kidney failure. Despite this, Pope Francis did take part in Sunday's Holy Mass with those caring for him at the hospital.
We're hearing from the mother of the police officer who died after being shot by a gunman at a Pennsylvania hospital. A vigil is growing in York, Pennsylvania, to honor the life of Officer Andrew Duarte. He was shot and killed Saturday at UPMC Memorial Hospital. Police say Diogenes Archangelo Ortiz showed up at that hospital, went to the ICU carrying a bag with a semi-automatic handgun and zip ties. He held a doctor, nurse, and custodian hostage. Ortiz was killed by police in a shootout. Duarte's mom, Nancy, talked about her son's bravery.
I'm not surprised that he answered the call. I'm not surprised he was one of the ones in on the front. He was a mighty warrior.
Investigators say Ortiz had recent contact with the hospital's ICU for a medical issue involving another person. Details on who that person is were not given as police try to figure out a motive.
Durham police say a man flagged down an off-duty deputy after being shot. This happened on East Trinity Avenue shortly after 9 yesterday morning. A Durham County deputy was working an off-duty job nearby when a man told him he was hurt. The deputy called EMS. The man was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say there was a brief chase in the area. Officers have detained a person of interest.
2 people are facing charges after a motorcycle crash on Wade Avenue in Raleigh. Before that crash Saturday night, troopers in Johnston County tried to stop 3 motorcycles impeding traffic on I-95. Troopers say there was a chase. One of the motorcyclists stopped and surrendered. The second got away, and the third sped into Raleigh and then crashed into a car at Wade Avenue and Faircloth Street. Damon Smithwick suffered minor injuries and faces several charges, including possession of a stolen vehicle. The person in the car wasn't hurt. The other motorcyclist who was caught also faces several charges.
Robbed at gunpoint. More professional athletes targeted by thieves. The latest incident where a New York Jets player was robbed.
Measles on the rise. The number of cases is growing across the U.S. The challenges healthcare workers are facing as more scientists are laid off.
And this is a live look at Durham from the American Tobacco campus. We have a nice week of weather ahead with much warmer temperatures. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will tell us when our next chance for rain will be.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
443, taking a look at our temperatures heading out the door. It's chilly out there, 30 in Wilson, 34 Durham, 35 in Fayetteville. Our wind is completely calm, so we don't have any wind chill to deal with, thankfully. But, we're talking about warmer weather. Don't be surprised if it's still cold in the morning. We're still in February, so cold temperatures to start the day and then nice warm afternoons with lots of sunshine all the way through Wednesday. And then Thursday, we'll have a chance of some showers, and we're going to talk more about the timeline for that. But expect bright skies for us this morning. It's cold. Temperatures are in the upper 20s and low 30s heading out the door, so you'll want a coat heading out to walk the dog this morning. We'll see temperatures near freezing up until around 8 o'clock this morning, but looking at low to mid 60s for highs this afternoon.
President Donald Trump has named his pick for Deputy Director of the FBI. The president shared a post to Truth Social last night announcing he has selected Dean Bongino for the role. And Bongino is a former Secret Service agent who unsuccessfully ran for a Senate seat in Maryland and for congressional seats in Maryland and Florida. He later gained fame as a conservative media personality. The announcement comes just days after Kash Patel was sworn in as director of FBI.
NASA officials say they are deciding how employees should respond to the email from the Office of Personnel Management asking them to explain what work they did last week. Many in the workforce are alarmed since Elon Musk announced that, quote, failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. NASA's Science Mission Directorate head Nikki Fox told workers not to submit their response until further guidance from a supervisor. Several national security agencies, including the FBI, have advised staffers not to respond immediately.
Police in New Jersey are searching for the people who robbed a New York Jets player at gunpoint. Police say 2 victims were stalked by 3 men from Manhattan to New Jersey and robbed in broad daylight. We know one of the victims plays for the New York Jets, but that person has not been identified. No arrests have been made.
And this comes as police in Wisconsin released a video showing robbers breaking into the home of Milwaukee Bucks player Bobby Portis Jr. last year. Police say the thieves stole a $1 million championship ring, a Rolex, and other jewelry. They were also seen leaving the house with what looks like a large safe. The robbery helped lead investigators to 7 Chilean men they believe were involved in the burglary and similar break-ins at homes of other athletes.
A ticking time bomb. Major companies here in the Triangle are years late for their county fire inspections.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it happens.
And tonight at 6, WRAL Investigates Sarah Kruger breaks down which companies are behind and why it got to this point.
Several recent outbreaks of measles across the U.S. are raising alarm about public health, particularly as vaccine rates among children lag. Over the weekend, cases in western Texas grew to 90. There are also 9 cases in New Mexico. It's the largest measles outbreak in Texas in 30 years. All of this comes amid massive layoffs at the CDC. At least 700 people were laid off, including scientists in a lab program that helps investigate what's causing disease outbreaks.
While I'm all for efficiency, if we do things the right way, if we go through a RIF, but the sledgehammer approach or just creating a list, knowing that those lists could be wrong and not correcting those things, and then just, firing people on a whim is unethical.
A total of 285 cases were reported in the U.S. last year. Medical experts say this rise is partially due to declining vaccine rates. While the vaccine won't completely prevent you from getting measles, the efficacy rate for 1 dose given to babies is 93%. The second dose given to children around age 4 is about 97% effective.
4:48 is the time right now on our Monday morning, and we started to feel some of those weather pattern changes over the weekend. It is cold out there this morning, certainly, but It is going to be a nice warmed up week for us after the weekend. We saw that switch. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. It's on the way. We can feel it.
It is. You know, it's going to be, a really lovely pattern where it's nice and chilly in the morning and then really warm in the afternoon. So it'll feel like spring. I have some daffodils in my yard that had started to come up and started to bloom. And then they, last week just kind of sat there and cowered. So this week we may see more daffodils popping out, more bulbs out there. It should look beautiful across our area as we start to get into some of these warmer temperatures. This is a live look at Lewisburg, and all quiet out there. I did notice, still yesterday, just in some shady spots, a few patches of snow, but our temperatures this week should take good care of that. Heading out the door this morning, temperatures will be close to freezing. It's 34 in the Triangle. We may drop it down to 32 over the next few hours, and then temperatures will warm into the 50s by the time we get to lunchtime, and then on into the 60s later this afternoon. That all happens when we see a shift in our winds. Right now, our wind is out of the northeast. You can see the blue shaded arrows, and they're coming out of the north. And so that's why temperatures are cold this morning. As we head through the afternoon, we'll roll through and you can watch how things change. It still stays pretty chilly for us this morning. The winds will become variable, and then after lunchtime, they switch to red and start coming out of the south. And that is when the warm air will start to push in. So this afternoon, 63 in Raleigh, 62 Durham, 66 in Fayetteville. Our temperatures stay nice and mild from low 60s today to nearly 70 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and that warmer air sticks around. Our normal high is 58. We're looking at several days in the 70s for this week, so enjoy it while it lasts, because we do have some cooler air coming in behind a front. Thursday will be our next best chance for rain, and then after that, we're in the 50s on Friday. We'll talk about what could happen over the weekend with a few fronts coming through in just a little bit.
Elizabeth, thanks. Students stepping up, a helping hand in Western North Carolina from high schoolers. How they've turned a classroom into a workshop to help farmers struggling after Helene.
And how about this? Singing sheriff's deputy. We'll tell you about a Wake County deputy who's pursuing his dream of becoming a singer. Western North Carolina farmers face mounting losses and uncertainty months after Hurricane Helene. The storm caused an estimated nearly $5 billion in agricultural losses, wiping out crops, livestock, feed, and infrastructure. While farmers are struggling, students are working to make a difference. Miley Ponder is a student at North Bungum High School and the co-president of Future Farmers of America there. She's doing her part to help neighbors in agriculture get back on their feet.
Power's on, we have water back in the city, we have our fast food open, but there are people in the rural areas that are still living in tents, and people that still go to this high school that are still without a home.
And Ponder's FFA chapter has turned its class into a grocery store and a greenhouse into a shopping center there. This past week, they've distributed more than 1,500 barbed wire and fence posts to local farms still in need of fencing repairs.
It's tough to wait for a new movie, a new album, or changes in society. David Daniel has updates on all three in today's Hollywood Minute.
You're really rolling the dice.
Spider-Man fans will have to wait just a bit longer to see the web slinger back on the big screen. Sony has moved the release of the fourth Spider-Man movie starring Tom Holland back 1 week to July 31st, 2026. Rihanna fans have been waiting for her next album for almost a decade. The singer, actress, and fashion mogul spoke with Harper's Bazaar about her long-awaited follow-up to 2016's Anti, saying she just cracked the code on what I really want to do for my next body of work. Rihanna noted the long delay means it has to matter. I have to show them the worth in the wait. I cannot put up with anything mediocre.
Those struggles that were in the 60s, they're still today.
If we unify, we would create a domino effect for peace.
We're not just here for the moment, we're here for a movement.
Eyes on the Prize 3, We Who Believe in Freedom Cannot Rest, 1977 to 2015, continues the groundbreaking series on people and communities working for racial justice and equity. The 6-part anthology series debuts Tuesday on HBO and Max. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Tonight, a Wake County Sheriff's Office deputy will be featured in a music competition show. Deputy Robert Hunter will try to turn some chairs during his blind audition on The Voice. Deputy Hunter says his love of music took hold in college at App State University while getting his criminal justice degree. You can watch Deputy Hunter's audition for The Voice at 8 p.m. right here on WRAL.
Captain continues to hold the #1 spot on top of the box office. Captain America: Brave New World remained #1 at the box office domestically for the second straight week. Studio estimates show the movie raked in over $28 million in ticket sales, down significantly from the opening weekend when it earned more than $100 million. Meanwhile, Osgood Perkins' The Monkey opened in the second spot, bringing in $14.2 million in ticket sales. Thousands of workers on leave. Mass layoffs at USAID have taken effect this morning. How this impacts North Carolina institutions, including some of the state's universities.
And a bomb threat on a flight. An American Airlines plane diverted because of the security risk.
The majority of people knew what was going on or had an idea about the bomb threat.
We'll hear from passengers who were diverted to Rome instead of India.